Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9-to-5 job? One of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9-to-5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps, so you will have hand-holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, let's face it, today's internet world is so saturated and everyone is fighting for that number one spot to be visible. It is no longer about running ads and having thousands of people on your email list. It is about building relationships and networking with others to grow your business and become visible. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm a podcast launch strategist and I help service-based business owners develop and deliver their message to the world by using platforms like podcasting and bringing valuable content to those who need to hear what they have to say. Welcome to the Hello C.S. Dorsey Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Hello C.S. Dorsey Podcast. I have Gael today on the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yay, we're so happy to have you on. So could you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Gael Wood, and I am an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. I started in the massage and the spa industry, and then I started a business teaching massage and spa therapists to build their businesses. I created marketing content for that industry. I teach continuing education. And throughout that process, I started a journey to help women start online businesses and, create their, laptop lifestyle like I did. I just think that it's something that almost anybody can do. It is hard work, but so now I have the 2 businesses. I have Massage and Spa Success and Elevate with Gael.
Awesome. Now, quick question. Did you find that you needed to pivot, or did you feel like, okay, I'm working in too many different directions, maybe I should just stick with one direction? Or because, a lot of people, they say, stick with one thing and then kind of like make that a success. But it's so hard for us entrepreneurs out there to just focus on one thing. So what was that like for you?
Well, it is very hard to stick to one thing. We have so many ideas. But I got to the point in my massage and spa success business where I had been doing that for about 5 years. And I found throughout my career, I'm on kind of a 5-year cycle. And I just felt like I had said everything that I needed to say. I created over 40 courses. I have marketing content libraries at this point that I can sell. And so it just seemed like time to move to the next step or the next thing. And what I've been doing over the past year is working to transition my massage and spa success business to be more of a source of passive income while I build up my Elevate with Gael business.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really good. I love it. So let's talk about the inspiration behind starting your business. What was it like for you?
With Elevate with Gael, I guess my inspiration was just to take the things that I felt like helped me be successful in my journey online. And that was kind of business building basics, mindset strategies, and then really creating a life and environment that supported me having the time to work on my business. And so I kind of just wanted to put all of those aspects together. So I don't like to lock myself into, I only teach business, because it just all works together to me.
Yeah, I agree. It does. And it's like you need the other component in order for the main component to work, if that makes sense, kind of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so kind of my direction I'm going now is just like designing your life. And that, to me, incorporates business and home and family and and self-care and just all of those things.
It sounds amazing. So can you remember a time in your business or starting out where you had a hello moment?
Yes, definitely. And it was actually from a little ebook I got on Amazon about launching a product or a course. And it was that I didn't need to have it done before I sold it. So it was just that I could launch an idea, I could promise what I was going to deliver, and then create it as I went along. And that I feel like just gave me like permission to just go ahead and start putting stuff out there. If I had to wait until I had like all 12 videos for a course done and everything perfect, I may not have ever launched anything.
This is so interesting that you say that because I'm having that epiphany moment as well. So I am a type of person that it needs to be ready to present to the world. And I'm still stuck in that mindset of doing so. But I found out, I'm finding out just this past couple of weeks that I have put things out there like a podcast workshop, and then I put out my mastermind. Didn't have anything prepared or anything like that, but I've noticed I get the most responses when I'm not prepared.
Yeah, I feel like it has that energy of being a new thing.
Yeah.
And if you take all the time to do all of it, it's almost like you're kind of tired of it by the time you ever launch it.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And those things that I have created and tried to launch has been a complete flop. But the ones that I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about this. Anybody want in? And yeah, let's do it. I'm like, really?
Yeah, and also, if nobody takes you up on it, you can segue and do something else.
Exactly. So I'm definitely having that moment too. So I'm so happy you brought that up. I was like, oh my God, it is true. You can do this.
Yeah. And another one that comes to mind just from what we're saying is a lot of the things that, maybe I had 10 or 15 people buy at first and I was kind of disappointed. I've, repackaged as a home study course or used it as a bonus for something else. And sometimes the things we think aren't successful end up, making thousands of dollars over the next few years.
That's true. That is so true. Yeah. Oh man, it's so crazy. Hey there. Are you looking to start a podcast without the tech overwhelm? Let me guess, you probably searched on Google and YouTube on how to get started, but the instructions and video left you feeling like, huh? Well, look no further because I have a free guide on how to jumpstart your podcast without the complex tech talk. Head on over to hellocsdorsey.com/JSP. Again, it's hellocsdorsey.com/JSP. In this free guide, you will get a get started questionnaire, a list of resources, an outline for your show notes, a plan your podcast calendar, a schedule for your episodes, and a podcast checklist. Head on over to hellocsdorsey.com/JSP and download it now. I cannot wait to listen to your first episode. So let's talk about staying motivated. I really want to talk about this because I don't think I've really touched on this on my podcast, but could you talk more about this?
Yeah, I think staying motivated, it's something that needs to be worked on almost daily. There's a quote I like from Zig Ziglar. He said, motivation is like showering. It doesn't last. And that's why we have to do it daily. So I find reading and listening to podcasts and things about successful entrepreneurs to really help keep me inspired and motivated, connecting and being in groups with people that are, trying to do some of the same things that I'm doing. Like I'm in a group of people that are writing Amazon books and doing bestseller launches. So just getting that daily dose of remembering my goals and why I'm doing things. Even I write a lot of affirmations and just kind of, try to connect all that together in some way each day.
Yeah, that's really good. So when you do your affirmations, do you do your affirmations like in the morning or at the end of the day? Or when do you actually do, or do you write them down or you keep them digital?
So I usually write them down, but I have lately realized that when I put a lot of like, I have to wake up every morning and I have to write my affirmations down, I start to be like, well, you can't tell me what to do. And then I end up not doing it. So I've kind of loosened up about it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to set the intention that I do my affirmations each day. And it generally happens in the morning. That's a good time to do it. But if it doesn't, I don't want to have that feeling of like, oh, I missed my chance. So sometimes when I'm having that afternoon lull and I feel kind of tired, sometimes I do them then. Or if I didn't write them down, if I'm on a walk with my dog, I'll even just say them in my head. So I've just kind of decided to not have to have a system.
That's good. That's good. Be human. I like that. Because it takes like what they say, it takes 21 days to form a habit. I think it takes a couple of months to form a habit because 21 days is just not enough for me. I could completely go like on a squirrel moment after 21 days and the habit is completely gone. So so it definitely takes months.
You don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes usually my husband's like out the door, but some mornings he's there and he ends up talking to me and I'll just get thrown off.
Yeah.
So
See,
I try not to use that as like a reason to not do my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, things do come up. So you have good intentions, but something just may pop up or come up and then you're like, oh, but I think as long as it doesn't have to be the time that you do it, but just as long as you do whatever daily routine that you do it, just as long as you actually do it, I think that can actually form a habit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So any last minute advice you have for our listeners out there, especially those who, want to basically create that laptop life? We were talking about that earlier. What advice do you have for them to actually just get it going, get it started?
Well, that would be the advice right there, what you just said. I mean, everything starts with just taking those small steps. My online business, of course, started with the idea and the decision that I'm going to go for this and I'm going to see what happens. And from there, it's just, figure out, okay, what's the next step? What's one thing I can do today? It might be going to GoDaddy and purchasing your domain name. And then the next day it might be, figuring out where you're going to host your website and just go step by step. I always say, well, I started out with a blog post. I mean, that was my first thing I put out onto the internet. But really, before that, I had to have a website. So, getting that foundation in place, you don't have to know exactly what you're going to create and sell. You don't have to have really the bigger picture, just have a starting point. And for most of us, a website where we can put some blog posts or put our podcast episodes or, something is a great place to start because you can build and grow from there. But you can't build and grow if you haven't, even got that little bit of a foundation done.
I agree. I love it. Take baby steps because some of us out there, me included, want it yesterday. Mm-hmm. So just take it one day at a time. So I'm really happy you brought that up.
Oh, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. If you think about, oh, how will I set up my shop? How will I deliver my courses? If you think about all those things, it's going to be so overwhelming. And all of those things can just be figured out when it's their time to be figured out.
Yes. And it'll all fall into place. I love it. Definitely. So where can everyone find you?
So you can find me at elevatewithgail.com. Check out my blog there and my best-selling Amazon book, Designing Your Dream Life Workbook, which will actually help people to kind of really think about some of these things we talked about today and start getting clear on what exactly, your dream life might look like, what your business might look like, all of those types of things. So that is definitely where I would recommend starting. And you can always reach out to me through my website if you have any questions or want to know more about what I do.
Awesome. And we'll definitely link all of those in the show notes. Well, Gail, I'm so happy you came on. This has been really, really helpful and definitely, I'm pretty sure, helpful to my audience out there that are just trying to get started and move the needle in their business and just give them some sort of direction on where to start first. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Did you like today's episode? I hope you did. Join me next week for more valuable bombs, tips, and tricks on how to grow your business by taking action. If you like this podcast, subscribe and leave us a review, or take a snapshot of this episode and tag me on Instagram at csdorsey_hello. We would love to hear from you.